Hey guys, and welcome to 1M Cybersecurity. My name is Reza Zahiri, and I've worked in cybersecurity for the past 15 years. And the last 10 of those, managing different security teams such as digital forensics, investigations, and incident response. And let me tell you, we saw and experienced a lot during that time. We're constantly battling the bad guys on the cyber front lines on a daily basis. And it was also during this time that I put together a company-wide security awareness training program, whereby I produced and then presented the training either in person or via online video modules to 25,000 of my fellow employees across the United States. And a lot of people came up to me afterwards and said I'm really passionate about the subject, and I have a knack for storytelling and presenting, and that really I should present this training to the general public. So I decided to create 1M Cybersecurity, which is a boutique cybersecurity awareness training company. I am now helping protect companies from being hacked by teaching your employees the most important things to know in cybersecurity. A lot of the security training out there is either too technical or boring, or both. Your employees need someone that can connect with them on a human-to-human basis and explain to them in clear, layman's terms exactly what's going on out there. I'm using visuals and storytelling throughout my presentations, so that way your employees can easily relate to the messages, and I'm speaking to them in a language that they understand. I make it clear, simple, and entertaining. And my ultimate goal is exactly like yours. I want to make sure that your employees never forget the training material, and that they're forever changed in how they browse, manage their emails, and generally stay connected to the internet. Someone who can understand their fears and anxieties when it comes to protecting your very sensitive data. Have you received security awareness training lately? And if so, did it actually change the way you manage yourself online? The cyber threats we face today are very real, and cyber attacks become not a question of if they will happen, but a question of when. Hey guys, and welcome to 1M Cybersecurity. My name is Reza Zahiri, and I've worked in cybersecurity for the past 15 years. In the last 10 of those, managing different security teams such as digital forensics, investigations, and incident response. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to present you is the stuff that we dealt with through those years. There's going to be several sections to the presentation. The first one, I'm going to talk to you guys at a high level about who are the hackers out there in the world. Because believe it or not, there's different hackers out there, and they all have a different agenda, and they're all after a different thing. And then we're going to go in detail. I'm going to show you all the different cyber attacks that are going on right now, different ways these guys are social engineering us and trying to hack into our systems and into our accounts, okay? And then finally, we'll talk in general about different ways you can protect yourself both at work as well as home. You may feel some emotions that come up while we're going through the training. And that's completely understandable, because I'm going to present stuff to you that you may not have known about, or maybe something that may have happened to you in the past, and you're going to feel tricked or vulnerable, or you're going to feel fear or despair. I understand that. Don't worry about this. I'm here to give you hope. I want to make sure that you guys never forget this information, and it's with you guys for the rest of your lives. I try to make it as visual as possible, so it's as visually stimulating as possible for you guys. And I hope it's as entertaining for you as it was for me to create. Having said that, let's jump right in. Okay, welcome back, guys. Right, okay, so now I want you guys to think for a moment, okay? And I want you to think, how hard is it for your network or your computer to get hacked, okay? Just want you to think, and I'll wait. Just think for a moment. Okay, so now while you're thinking, I'm going to show you how hard it is to break into these networks right now. Okay, you ready? One click of the mouse. That's how hard it is to break into these networks. If you don't believe me, here's an aerial view of the same hack. And here's a side view of the very same hack. One click of the mouse, game over. Let me explain to you what I mean by that. A lot of the attacks that I'm about to present to you in this training, when you click on your mouse, just that one click of that mouse, for all intents and purposes, you might as well take your laptop or your computer or your mobile phone and go over to Mr. Evil Hacker, who's sometimes in another country, and say, here you go, Mr. Evil Hacker. You can take my computer, you can take my phone, do whatever you want with it. It's yours. They basically have unfettered access to your machine. They can look at your emails, look at your pictures, your documents, take your passwords, open your CD tray, turn on your webcam. It's game over. Done deal. Okay? Now, you're like, okay, yeah, come on, Reza, you're really exaggerating right now. It can't be one click of the mouse, right? Well, I'm going to show you in the next section how easy it is for these guys to break in and social engineer you, okay? Now, I will say that this next section is one of the most important sections in the whole training, right? Because the vast majority of all the hacking that you hear about out there in the news is through this method, okay? And it's what we call targeted email phishing. They're coming in through emails, and we say targeted or phishing is because they are going after very specific individuals and they are coaxing you. They're trying to get you to open an email, click on a link, download an attachment and open it. And as you start seeing these examples I show you, you're going to realize like, oh my God, this is how they're breaking it, and it's so easy for them to break in. And then you're going to start recognizing the patterns, and you're going to become very, very educated. I'm really excited to go through this section with you, okay? So, let's move on to the next section. All right, guys, welcome back. So when you take a look at this email is the exact email that the Russian military intelligence, the GRU, sent John Podesta, who was Hillary Clinton's campaign manager during the 2016 elections. This is the actual email itself. And I want you, let's go through this together because I want you to see some of the red flags in this, okay? So, hi, John, no comma, red flag number 1. Someone just used your password to try to sign into your Google account. Oh my God, John Podesta at gmail.com. Details. Saturday, 19th of March, no year. Red flag number 2. IP address, location, Ukraine. Google, stop this sign-in attempt. Thank you so much, Google. That's awesome. But you should change your password immediately, right? So here you see there's a link, says here, change password. That's what they wanted John to click on. Change password. So here is an email exchange between Charles Delavan and Sarah Latham, right? So Sarah and Charles both worked for John in the campaign, Charles being his IT security guy, right? So John forwards it to Sarah saying, hey, I don't trust this email, what's going on? Sarah forwards it to Charles and says, what is this? So let's read along and you can see what's going on here. So Charles replies back and says, Sarah, this is a legitimate email. What he meant to say was, this is an illegitimate email. He said there was a little typo. But let's move on. So John needs to change his password immediately and ensure that two-factor authentication is turned on in his account. So he can go to this link. So you see, this is the link. This is the actual link in Google where you can go and change your credentials. He has to do both. It says this absolutely imperative that is done ASAP. So Sarah sends this back to John. Now, John, instead of clicking on that link, the actual Google link to go in and change his username and password, he went to the original email. And so here's the original email. Now this is what I want. This is one of the most important things I want you to remember in this entire training. Anytime you get an email that comes in, right, with a link or a button or something to click, I want you to hover your mouse over that link. Don't click it, just hover it. And you'll see a pop-up come up, right? Either just a pop-up right in front of the mouse or at the bottom by the taskbar. That's where it's actually going. That's the actual web address that link is going. So don't believe what you see on the screen. It's that, whatever hovers above or below, that's where I want you to pay your full attention to, okay? So right here, if you see, I hovered my mouse over the link, and if you can see, it says, HTTPS sort of bit.ly and then some characters. So bit.ly is basically a web address shortener. Instead of putting the full address, they've shortened it, and they did that by design. They don't want you to see where it's actually going. So John clicks, change password. Let's see when John went. So this is the actual page that was presented to John when he clicked on that. Can you guys see why John should have not logged into this Google page? I'll wait for a moment. Okay, do you see it up at the top where it says myaccount.google.com? But then it doesn't stop there. It says -security settings page.tk. So it's not myaccount.google.com, it's where they hope you're thinking it's going. It's actually security settings page.tk. And let me explain what's going on here. So TK is a top-level domain for an island called Tokelau, right off the coast of New Zealand. So what the Russian military intelligence did is they created this fake Google page, right? Takes like 5 minutes. They they basically registered to this island off the coast of New Zealand. And they created that phishing email that says, hey, John, you need to change your password. They sent it to John. John clicks on the email. He basically is presented to this page and he's like, oh, it's a Google page, let me log in. So he logs in, username and password. On the back end, username and password get sent to the bad guys, right? And they redirect him to the real Google page. And it happens in a split second. He doesn't even see it. It's just like a glitch or a flash. Or he'll say like, password incorrect. And he's like, that's weird. I thought I put in my password. I'll do it again. So he logs in. Now the Russian military intelligence has his username and password, download all 50,000 of his emails, and then the rest is history. It's that easy. So when I say one click of the mouse, that's all it was. Okay, guys, when we come back in the next video, I'm going to show you some more examples of targeted email phishing. Part 3, targeted email phishing. All right, let's jump right in. Scroll down a little bit before you see it says Amazon.com. Part 3, targeted email phishing. All right, let's jump right in. Scroll down a little bit before you see it says Amazon.com. Your Amazon.com order or Panasonic Lumix, whatever is shipped. It's basically it's a camera, okay? And if you notice in the 2, it says finance organization. So this was actually sent to an entire finance organization. One of my clients. There's 52 people in this entire organization, okay? So that's also a red flag. First of all, why is this email being sent to the entire organization, right? If you bought a camera, like why do all my colleagues know about the fact that I bought a camera? You can also see, this is also interesting too, if you look at the date, okay? This was it was in December. And that's very important because the hackers, they know that during December time, there's a lot of emails coming in and out in your inbox, you're buying stuff for your loved one, and there's shipping and tracking, and they're hoping that you're just gonna be distracted for 1 second. You know, you've come into work, you're thinking about your boss or a conference call, your kids, or whatever it is, and it's just that 1 second, bam! You're gonna open this email, click on the link, and it's game over. Let's continue. Hello. Now this one particularly irritates me. Hello, my name is Reza. It's in the database. I just bought a camera from you. You don't call me hello, okay? So I want you guys to always keep note of the salutation, how they address you. Is it dear client, hello, dear customer? No. If they know you, if you're a customer and you're in their database and you're in their system, they need to know you by name, okay? So be very careful about that dear hello and dear client and all that stuff. Okay, so anyways, let's move on. So shipping confirmation, blah, blah, blah. Right there where it says track your package. This is why I want you to put your full attention right there. Track your package, that link, okay? So what I did was I hovered my mouse over that link, right? Which is what I want you to do, but don't click the link. Just hover your mouse over the link. And if you see in that pop-up, right, it says http www.davidmontanero.it.blog and then a bunch of other stuff. So let me explain to you what's going on here, okay? So Mr. Evil Hacker, right, has gone out and hacked into a benign website somewhere in the world, right? So in this particular instance, it's David Montanero. IT is a top-level domain for Italy, so some guy called David Montanero in Italy who has a blog. Unbeknownst to him, Mr. Evil Hacker's gone in, hacked into his website, puts his evil code, right? And then he creates this email, which takes maybe but 2 minutes to create. Puts the link to his evil code and just sends it out to everyone in the finance organization, just says, pray, pray, pray. Just one person click on this link and he's in the finance network, okay? And again, when I say click game over, that means he's in your network, he can move laterally through the network, he can, you know, steal all your stuff, your co-worker's stuff, that's it, it's done, it's finished, okay? There's a couple other red flags here. I want you to notice, if you scroll down a little bit further down, you'll see where it says, returns are easy. Visit our dot. Okay, so Amazon.com doesn't send emails like this. Bank of America, FedEx, UPS, Google, no legitimate business is going to send you an email with spelling mistakes, grammatical errors. I mean, this is great for us, right? Thank you, Mr. Evil Hacker, because you just spent 3 months creating this, you know, doing this to write your code and get this email out, but you couldn't be bothered to do a spell check or grammar check. So thank you so much for that. This is great. So remember, keep in mind, when you get these emails coming in, just pause for a second. Start looking at some of these red flags, okay? Where's it coming from? What is the context around it? What is the time frame, right? Like, what is your gut telling you? Are there spelling mistakes? Who is in the to field? Is it addressed to everyone? Is it just me? And what are they trying to make me do? And most importantly, you're going to hover your mouse over the link, but don't click the link and just see exactly where it's going. That's the most important, okay? All right, guys, join me in part 4 of the targeted email phishing module. All right, guys, so here's another type of attack that I'm going to show you. Again, it's very simple on the social engineering side, and it's had devastating effects in the last couple of years. I mean, the FBI's come out recently and said like billions of dollars have been lost from companies, organizations through this attack. Let me explain what's going on here. It's called a CEO fraud or BEC attack. BEC meaning business email compromise. And what the goal of this attack is, they are trying to initiate or get you to initiate a wire transfer internationally. That's what they're trying to do, right? So they'll social engineer you, create some kind of sense of urgency or something like that so that you're like, oh my God, I need to send this money ASAP. And you'll send it to a bank. It's usually in a foreign country. And then at that point, it's game over. You can't get that money back, right? A lot of the times. And also what they do is they will target people in organizations, the organizations where they're doing a lot of wire transfers, right? They're sending a lot of money and they're dealing with a lot of vendors. And in particular, people like in payroll, in finance and accounting, those people who cut checks and they pay vendors and so on. So they'll go after those. And what they do is, so let's say, you know, the examples I showed before, you click on an email or something like that, and this malware gets downloaded to your machine, okay? They will do reconnaissance on the network for a couple months. They'll watch your inbox for a couple months and they'll see like, let's say Sally in accounting, right? Or Sally in payroll. Who's she talking to? How does she talk to them? What do the invoices look like? What kind of letterheads do they have? They basically gather intelligence, okay? Or they'll send Sally an email with a link that takes her to a phishing page that will grab her username and password for her email, and they'll break in that way. And then then they'll see, you know, they'll watch how she talks to the CFO, right? The chief financial officer, or the CEO, the head of the company, and they'll basically profile how this company operates. And then when the time is right, they're gonna create an email, right? And they're gonna send it to Sally. Here's an example. I put this together. It's a very simple example, but this is basically what it looks like, right? It's gonna say from the CFO John, okay, at acmecore.com. This is all made up, obviously, right? But you get the idea. The email is gonna pretend to come from the CFO. And it's going to come to Sally and it's going to say, subject, urgent, oh my God. So again, there's that whole call to action. This is something important. You need to jump on it. I need you to initiate a wire transfer in the sum of $195,000 into the account below. But then this is where it gets interesting. I'm boarding a flight, so I can't talk. But this needs to be done ASAP. Can you please get this done? Send confirmation of the transaction immediately. Thanks. So let me explain what's going on here. So the bad guys will either send an email from CFO John's inbox. They will send it to Sally, right? And so she receives it and she's like, oh my God, what's going on? Okay, the CFO, he's jumping on a flight. I can't call him, but he needs this done ASAP. Okay, you know what? Here's the bank information. Let me just send this out. Game over. Or they will create a domain out on the internet that's like 1 or 2 letters off. So let's just pretend. Let's say it was FedEx.com. They may do, instead of the E in FedEx, they'll do a 3. So it'll be F3DEX.com. They'll create a domain and they'll send the email in. But Sally was looking, she doesn't realize that it's coming from outside. And she'll be like, oh wow, the CFO's sending it. I mean, I'm not going to argue with the CFO. I'll get this done ASAP. Well, here's a little bit more of a sophisticated example. What they'll do is they'll create an initial email that's pretending to be from the CEO, okay? So over here, if you see it says CEO Susan, is sending an email to CFO John, right? So the CEO is sending an email to the CFO saying, hey, John, we need to pay XYZ Corp today so we can take advantage of the deep discount. So please take care of this, you know, the outstanding invoice with AP. And then apparently, right, John is forwarding the CEO email to Sally. So Sally's looking at this email now and she's like, oh no, the CEO is telling the CFO to tell me I need to pay this ASAP. I'm not going to argue with anyone. I'm just going to do this right now, right? Because I want to be in everyone's good graces. Send. Very, very devastating attack. And it's so slick how these guys doing it, right? They profile the company. They do a lot of intelligence, reconnaissance, and the payoff is huge for these guys. Now, as far as the solution, right? Well, you're like, okay, great. Like, you scared me. What do I do? How can you solve this problem? Very simple. Pick up the phone. It's so simple. Anytime you have big wire transfers like that, just pick up the phone. Hey, John, I hate to bother you, but did you just send me this email? Like, I don't know, I don't feel 195,000. Are you sure? I want to just double check with you, right? Don't do it via email though. Don't confirm, because remember, they may have access to the email already. They're already in the network and it could be game over in that regard. But pick up the phone, out of band, pick up the phone and say, hey, John, please call me back. I need verification, like voice verification, or walk into John's office. Say, hey, John, I just received an email, 195,000. Is that you? That's definitely one of the, probably the most effective solution, right? And another one is, if you guys can, have some kind of a two-man integrity tool, like how they do with nuclear launchers, where there's two people that have to initiate something, right? It may be one thing to social engineer one person, but two people at the same time, much harder, okay? And if you want to go even further steps, which is awesome, have a dedicated system, maybe a Linux system that it only goes to the bank. Maybe you can work with the bank to make sure that anytime they get any requests for big transfers, that they have to verify with you over the phone. Hey, did you guys initiate this, this wire transfer? Be very careful about this one with these emails coming in, especially when there's some kind of call to action and they're saying, I can't talk, this needs to be done ASAP. Oh my God. Just pause. Remember what was it? Yeah, I remember that in the training. Pick up the phone. Double check. Cool. Walk into the office. Good stuff, guys. Good stuff.